Hey folks, Twisha Christian here. I want to give you guys a Zion Oil update. Also, too, Zion Oil did give an operational update, and I will be going over that. Now, first of all, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just your average guy telling you my thoughts, telling you where I think where a stock may or may not go, my thoughts and opinions on any subject surrounding any stock. One thing is to do is also do your own research. Right? If I give a stock, I expect you guys to do your own research and not just base it off of what I am saying. Right now, Zion Oil is trading around 70 cents. Right? And we did get an update. And there's going to be some things that I'm going to discuss in this video. I want to deal with the criticism to the 477, and I want to deal with stop losses and all that too as well. Give you my opinion on why we did not reach that 477 yet, because there was a lot of incidents that occurred before then, and the momentum was taken out of Zion Oil. All right, so this update came out yesterday, so I'm going to go ahead and just read it real quick here. I'd like to take this opportunity to give each of you a quick update on our drilling operation. We are well underway on the second stage of the drilling campaign, heading towards the true vertical depth of 2,600 meters, 8,530 feet. So far, the drilling is going as anticipated, with rates of penetration up 50% from stage 1. The next outlook for the next couple weeks, we will see the crew navigate through a known zone of difficulty, which will slow down the vertical drilling depths, as non-drilling services will be utilized to protect the borehole, as well as preventing the loss of fluids in this area. Once the crew passes this particular zone, the drilling rates will continue to rise as we approach the second casing run and cementing operation around the end of the month. So when I look at this update, where they are at in their whole timeline, right now they're about halfway through. And they did say the whole operation would take about 5 months before they have the end result, the results of the oil grade and all that. So they started drilling on January 6th, so approximately June 6th would be the 5-month mark, right? So, but I don't expect any update on June the 6th. Is the well viable? And that's going to be key. That's going to be very key. Because if the oil well is viable and they can make money off the well, then they will then more than likely what would happen within anywhere from 3 to 6 months, they will start pumping oil out off of that well. And then it says here, once this crew passes this particular zone, the drilling rates will continue to rise as we approach the second casing run. All right, so we still have time, folks. We still have a lot of time dealing with this particular stock. All right, and because of this update, it is very possible that we could see the stock actually over the next few weeks actually start to come down a little bit. So just watch for that if you are trying to buy more stocks. Now, the other thing I do want to go over is the Zion Oil short interest. And one of the things is, folks, I'm not an expert in the short interest, even on some of the most what you hear about going on with GameStop and AMC, and I listen to people talk about the short interest, and sometimes it's not always, because the way that things are set up, the information can be hard to read and really determine what's going on with the shorts. But you could get a basic idea. Now on Zion Oil and Gas here, let's see, short shares available so far, 500,000. Right, the short borrow fee rate is 21.5%. I'm not sure exactly what that means. That sounds kind of high to me, but all right. And just going back over the last 10 trading days or so, the short interest, which it has been it's been keeping below 20%. Anything from what I've learned and studied, anything above 20% on the short volume ratio is not good, right, for any company, right? So once it starts hitting that mark, then that can determine as far as, how people view the outlook of that company. Over the last 10 trading days, it's actually done pretty well. We saw some days that were 16, 15, 12, 21, 19, 22, 16. So it's actually doing pretty well as overall compared to what other stocks that I'm invested in in the shorts that are trying to pull some of those stocks down. And then just going over to the OTC short report and basically verifying similar numbers here. So I don't know a whole lot. I'm still learning about this whole short thing. If it wasn't for the whole GameStop and AMC thing, I would have never known so much about shorts. And that's one of the things that I've never, that was really never really pointed out, that what the shorts have been doing to Zion Oil. And when I was looking back and doing the research, they've been pulling the stock down for years. And they've been making millions of dollars off of you guys. And that's one of the things that I do want to get into is I have received a lot of criticism for the 477. Oh, it hasn't hit 477, so he must have been wrong. I'm going to go back and give you a little bit of history. Now, as you guys recall, we did transition from the NASDAQ markets to the OTC markets. Right? So Zion Oil lost a lot of investors, especially if they were just using Webull or just using Robinhood. They had to find another trading platform, and probably a lot of them did not. Right? So first of all, Zion Oil did lose a lot of investors when they did take themselves off of NASDAQ. All right, so the stock price plummeted. A lot of people got back in at a cheaper price. And the momentum for Zion Oil began to build because they began putting out updates about the rig, making its way to the ship, and just giving us updates because the whole thing with COVID and all the restrictions and all that. So the momentum began to build. And on November 5th, they put out a operational update that said, hey, the ship that has the rig on it, it's en route to Israel now. All right, so the momentum at that point began to start building. The excitement among Zion Oil investors was building. But during that time period, both me and Currency365 discussed this, that during this time period, somebody on the Webull community board put together a nice fake news article saying that the ship with the rig on it was sunk by Iran. And so apparently there was some sell-off, and there was a lot of confusion among investors of what was going on. And apparently that whoever this person was, the account was suspended and then deleted. All right, and so that took a lot of steam out of Zion Oil. Since there was a lot of confusion, over the next couple days, and then they had the announcement of the rig arriving to Israel, the momentum began to somewhat build back up. And then we got to a point to where they were doing their inspection, and they had said that they should have started drilling around mid-December. So when we got the news of the inspection, okay, they have to have the inspection before they start drilling, right? We didn't hear anything until January 6th. So they didn't start drilling in December, right? And so anytime that you have momentum going, and then there's like delay, and that's where the momentum starts to dip off. When I say the 477, and I look at where Zion Oil is drilling at, there is oil there, and there's a very large oil reserve there, and they are drilling there. And yes, the stock should be trading a lot higher than what it is, especially with the gas prices on the rise. From the information that I gathered and getting the news from other sources, looking at the charts, looking at the past, looking at the history, but the things that we did not account for is fake news, PR delays, right? Because we didn't know, we assumed, according to what Zion Oil said, that they were going to start drilling in December, mid-December, and we didn't get an update at all. So drilling didn't start till January 6th. So there's a lot of different factors. And one of the other things is that I want to share with you guys, and I put this in some of these other Zion Oil videos, is that there are people that are out shorting the stock. And the ones that are shorting the stocks, these people, they're doing everything that they can to pull the stock down. It doesn't matter if it's an individual. It doesn't matter if it's, Citadel, whatever the case. Now, let me tell you something. Say, for instance, the momentum was building, right? you're an individual shorter, right? You've been making a lot of money off the stock for the last year, and now we have this good news, we have this momentum building, and it's gonna take away. You're gonna end up losing on your shorts. And for an individual who might lose, say, 50,000 or 100,000, or in some cases like securities like Citadel and a few others, if they are on the verge of possibly losing millions of dollars, right, because they've been shorting the stock, do you think that they care about setting up a fake account or using somebody that works for one of these companies, or somebody who is a shorter starts up an account on Webull? You think it's nothing to them to do all that and to post fake news so they won't lose out on millions of dollars? And that has happened, right? And I believe 99.9% sure that whoever did that either was an individual that was getting ready to lose a lot of money, or it was somebody who was working for one of these securities or institutionals that were shorting the stock, that were getting ready to lose a lot of money. These are just my opinions, and that's why we didn't see the 477. And I did tell people after the OTC transition, you guys had choices. You could either hold on to it, you could set it to whatever, or put your stop losses in. If you want to hold on to it there until they actually strike oil, you might be holding a long time. Okay? And what happened with me, my stop losses kicked in. At that point, go back in and buy more stocks than what I actually had to begin with. So when should we expect another update? Going by what we have seen in the past, I have to scratch all of that, because they're not usually when it came to MJL1, they were giving updates like every 2 weeks. They're not doing this time, and they're approaching the situation differently. Most of your investments should have some type of stop loss on your investment. Now, when the stock begins to rise and it starts hitting the $2 and $3 and $5, and when those things start to happen, if you don't have your stop losses in and you're waiting for the big announcement, you're going to lose out, because you know what? The shorts are always going to battle these stocks from rising as much as possible, and they're going to try to bring them down. And if you have your stop losses in, not only will you have profit, but you can actually go back in and buy more stocks than what you had before. But there are many people who are trading the stock on a daily basis. I've got some criticism for that. We should just be buying and holding and not having like your stop losses in, folks. But let me tell you something. A good investor, from everything that I've learned, is always going to have, most of the time, stop losses on their investments. At any moment in time, any stock, any company could come out with bad news, and you don't want to be stuck losing half of your investment, because I've seen it happen with a lot of stocks. And yes, this is a Christian company, but it is in the stock market, and it is bound by the rules of the stock market. And a lot of people, there's a lot of people that haven't made any money off of Zion Oil yet, and you've been in it for a year, you've been in it for 2 years, a year, 6 months, whatever. And you haven't been able to make money because you've been holding on to it. Maybe you did buy a whole bunch when it was 25 cents or 40 cents. But there are a lot of people that have gotten wealthy off of the stock, just for the simple fact that they do believe in Zion Oil. Let me tell you something, folks. There are people that do believe in Zion Oil. And I know somebody that started off with maybe like 10,000 shares, and they sold on the high and bought on the low. And they now currently have over 100,000 shares of Zion Oil. All right, so over time, he learned how to trade. He mastered it, and now he has a lot more. His initial investment was only 10,000 stocks, but through trading, he learned to bring it up to over 100,000 stocks. He believed in it. See, that's the difference between just somebody who doesn't care about the stock. They're just in it to make money, and then they're gone. These are some of these people who are actually trading the stock on a daily basis. They believe in the company, and they took their little investment, and they've increased it dramatically. And there's a lot of people that are not up to technical trading. Maybe you don't know anything about computers, and that's a whole different category. It's a whole different story. But for those of you who have been actively buying, actively researching the stock, actively following it on a daily basis, and you're just holding and you're not doing anything with it, and you could learn how to trade a lot better and watch for those things so that you can increase your investment in Zion Oil, because that's what it's about. It's about increasing your investment in Zion Oil, right? Starting from 10,000 shares to 100,000 shares. So anyways, folks, I'm still excited about this. We still have some months before we get some type of major announcement. I can see the stock dropping anywhere from another 10 to 15 cents if there's no updates for another month or so. But that all remains to be seen. So anyways, I just wanted to get all that and clear all that out of the air so that we can move forward. I'm not doing as many updates on Zion Oil stock, and there's a reason for that. And part of that is dealing with the shorts. When a stock has been highly shorted, as Zion Oil has in the past, I surely don't want to give them too much more ammunition to give to them in trying to pull the stock down. So anyways, folks, thank you for listening. God bless. And with that being said, Twisted Christian out.